As you approach 40, or if you're already in your 40s, do you feel more confident, yet more busy, and perhaps a bit lost? Life caught between work, parenting, and caring for aging parents have become more severe, and the future seems more bewildering. The 40s should be the prime of life, yet it's also the age that can slip away the easiest amidst our busyness. How can we, in such a situation, get the most out of our 40s? Today's book is going to teach us how. Listen in.
Welcome to A Book with Bubble Tea. With your host, Mira He, here I share takeaways from East Asian books on parenting, startups, and self-growth. Seeking insights beyond the typical English shelf? Want to be a better parent and achieve more in life? You are in the right place. Grab your bubble tea and let's dive in.
Hi everyone, welcome to the new episode of A Book with Bubble Tea. How's everyone doing? Have you ever suddenly realized, man, I am already so old? The book I'm going to discuss today somehow just hit me like that. It offers guidance on how to successfully age through life. It's titled, What Successful People Only Do in Their 40s, with the subtitle, Learn the Right Way to Work Hard from 10,000 People. With such a long title, you can guess it must be written by a Japanese author. To be honest, I read this book about a year ago, and I never thought about reviewing it. But today, as I was browsing my bookshelf, this book just caught my eye. In 6 months, I will be turning 40s. And suddenly, it just occurred to me that, yeah, I am going to hit 40 soon. And the first half of the game of my life is nearly over. So how should I play the second half now? I suddenly feel like I'm standing at a crossroads. Being nearly 40, I definitely feel a lot more confident than in my 20s or 30s, but I also feel challenged and perhaps a bit lost. I mean, is that it? Is that it for my life? Or are there still unfulfilled dreams or challenges that I still want to take on before I close the chapter of my life on Earth? I may not know exactly what I want to do in my 40s, but I know one thing for sure. Amidst the busy life of the 40s, I don't want to just get by every day. I want to utilize my 40s in the best possible way so that when I reach my 50s, I can look back and be proud of how well I did in my 40s and how all that hard work has paved its way. That's why I started to reread this book. And indeed, there are some great takeaways from the book that I want to share with you. And I'm sure you will gain valuable insight from it and make 40s the best time of your life. But before that, let's talk about the author. Hisashi Ootsuka, born in 1962, he is a business consultant and founder of Amame Corporation, which offers customized corporate training and sales consultancy. And additionally, he's also a best-selling business book author with a total of 280,000 copies sold. Hisashi holds an MBA degree from Thunderbird School in the U.S., but he admitted when he was young, he wasn't a good student. In fact, he couldn't get into good high schools, universities, or even companies because he often skipped classes. And that experience obviously pained him and made him feel very lost and uncertain about what he's going to do with his life. So since 20s, he has developed a habit of, seeking advice from other people about their experiences of success and failures. And he managed to transform his performance and his life completely through that. And he became like a nationally recognized top sales in Japan. And eventually, led him to become a business book author, sharing with others of what he had learned and practiced, from his past experiences. In this book, the author says many people, after experiencing their busiest decades in their 40s, find themselves only having dealt with immediate work, unwittingly entering their 50s. In their relentless pursuit, they often forget their dreams. They put the work they want to do and other things they want to try aside and only focus on their current job. However, the reality is the busier you are, the less fulfilling you feel, and your life becomes less prepared and less ready for any drastic change. The author says that after turning 40, our methods of effort and time management must differ from those in our 20s and 30s. Without realizing this, we only fall into a vicious cycle of the harder we try, the more helpless we feel. But how should we spend our 40s that will benefit us the most? Here are the 3 main takeaways I got from the book. The first one, time is the most precious asset for those in the 40s, so be focused and selective. Time is incredibly scarce for people in their 40s. At this age, we probably earn enough to outsource things that we don't like doing, like, eating out or, hiring cleaners to help us tidy up our place. And at work, we probably have subordinates to delegate tasks to. But one thing we definitely can't have more is our time. We already have too much on our plate. Therefore, we must be very selective on what we take on and how we use our time wisely. So how do we do that? The author's first suggestions is to make our pie chart. Think about what is the most important thing to you, what you want to achieve, accomplish, or treasure in the future, and narrow your list down to only 3 items. Then make them into a pie chart with an assigned percentage based on their importance to you. For example, if your top 3 items are achieving financial freedom, spending time with your kids, and, have a side business, and you assign 35%, 40%, and 25% to them respectively, then this is your pie chart. This pie chart will become your guiding principle on how to spend your precious time in your 40s. Hang this pie chart everywhere to remind yourself. Because let's face it, the reality is we don't have the luxury of time like we did in our 20s or 30s anymore. We don't have time to just explore and go with the flow. In our 40s, we need to be focused and use our limited resources wisely. The second important thing is to have our do not do list. Many people only have the to-do list, but most of the time, we don't challenge them, and we end up doing a lot of things that are very, very unimportant or trivial. As 40s, our responsibilities are already immense. There is no time to waste on trivial and unimportant stuff. We need to be clear about what not to do so that we can utilize those times saved on things that can bring us more significant value. The third thing on time management is, how do we spend our weekends? Most of us probably want to relax completely from the busy weekday schedule, either doing nothing or just spending time with our family. There's nothing wrong with that. But the author suggests us to be more conscious on how we spend our weekends. Instead of viewing the weekends as 2 days off, we can instead divide our weekends into 6 time blocks: Saturday morning, afternoon, and evening, and Sunday morning, afternoon, and evening. Then try to arrange our weekend schedule with the awareness of these 6 time blocks. Like to chill and relax on Saturday morning, then do some housework Saturday afternoon, and spend time with our family Saturday evening. And on Sunday, we could work on our side business in the morning, take our kids out in the afternoon, and do some study in the evening. It's up to us on how we want to spend our weekends. But simply by becoming more aware of it, it will naturally change the way we utilize it. And any effort we put in now will definitely benefit us in the future. The second takeaway is, find our unbeatable niche after turning 40. The author emphasizes that one of the must-do things after turning 40 is to create an arena where we can be unbeatable. This is because being unparalleled in a specific area ensures our irreplaceability, whether within our company or in the broader marketplace. We need to identify our niche and become the unicorn within that space. If you're unsure about having any strengths that surpasses others in a particular field, consider whether you can combine them. For instance, our company was recently shortlisted to present a request for proposal where our operations manager caught the prospective client's attention. Initially, she's an accountant, but later she opted for a career change to become a property manager. This rare combination of finance and property management skills became her unique niche. The author advises applying the same strategy to ourselves to see if we can merge different skill sets. While individually, these skill sets may not stand out, but by combining them together, we can create an unprecedented strength. Imagine a salesperson who's also certified to give tax advice. How valuable that would be for the clients. I would certainly want to schedule a meeting with that person, even just to hear his or her opinions on things. The author urges us to seriously contemplate how to become a rare talent and find our niche. This not only pave our ways for future career opportunities, but can also open many doors for us in the future. The third takeaway is be deliberate in building and expanding our network and connections. The author advised that in our 20s, we should strive to expand our connections as much as possible without being limited by our own preferences. In our 30s, we should slow down and refine the connections because at this time we are very easily influenced by our surroundings, so be choosy of who we hang out with at our 30s. However, in our 40s, we should once again make a concerted effort to broaden our networks and connections. By this time, we should have already developed some of our own connections already, of those people who will assist us when we are in need. However, if we only interact with the same group of people over time, our perspectives may become very narrow and limited. A diverse network not only opens doors, but also provides insights that can be found easily online, and those insights will become a distinguishing factor of us from the crowd. The author shares a personal experience before he published his first book. He said he always wanted to write a book, but didn't publish his first one until he was in his 40s. Before then, he pondered what content would interest readers, but he realized all the advice that he got are from people like him who have not done it before. So eventually, he decided to do something different. He decided to be more proactive in participating in seminars organized by book critiques and events held by publishers. These events not only broadened his knowledge about publication, but also connected him with other like-minded individuals. Through interaction and exchange, he found inspiration, clarified his thoughts, and even began collaborations, which were crucial steps toward publishing his books. But how can we effectively network in our busy 40s? Here are a few advice from the author that we can consider. The author said we can organize regular parties or dinner gatherings to introduce different people to each other. So, friends becomes our friends too. And we can also start a book club. That's another excellent way to expand our connections. Or, we can make deliberate effort to connect with people who seem completely opposite to us. For example, if we are business-minded, then try to know people who work for nonprofit organizations will certainly challenge our viewpoints and broaden our perspectives. And additionally, mingling with young people to understand their thoughts and what's relevant to them is also very beneficial to us too. Lastly, it's important not to forget to stay humble. Even though we might think we know a lot by the age of 40, there is still so much more that we don't know. So stay humble and seek advice from others is how we can continue to improve ourselves. So these are the three main takeaways I got from the book. They are: time is our most precious asset. So in our 40s, be focused and selective. Second, find our unbeatable niche after turning 40s. And third, be deliberate in building and expanding our network and connections. But as we know, a good Japanese book is often packed with many, many valuable advice. So I'm just going to quickly share with you 3 additional points for further consideration. They're going to be brief, but I just like to mention to you because I think, it's worth digging more into it and to ponder upon it. So first is pay attention to our marriage. The author reminds us, believe it or not, 40s present the second prime time for marriage to fall apart. This is because we often assume we know our partners well enough, so we stop making efforts to communicate with each other. When small grievances accumulate, they can eventually lead to the breakdown of the marriage. But divorce, no matter when it happens, is costly and painful. The author has witnessed the challenges of divorce and how it can exhaust and deplete individuals and families. Therefore, he advises paying attention to even the smallest change in our partners, to maintain good relationships so that we can avoid such outcomes. The second point, everyone should have 5 masks. I found this very interesting, but very true. What the author implies is that we should embrace multiple identities by playing different roles in life. For example, as a mother, wife, and a business owner, I should be able to switch to mother's role when interacting with my children, to wife's role with my husband, and to a business person's role at work. The idea is not to base your entire identity on just one aspect. Much like the well-known investment advice of not putting all your eggs in one basket. In case something unforeseeable happens, we won't be completely devastated. We have seen people commit suicide simply because they were laid off from work or their relationship with a loved one collapsed. That's the danger of identifying yourself solely with one aspect of your life. So the more diversified our identities are, the more mentally stable we will be, and we can be more resilient to face any undesirable circumstances in life. And we can always create more identities by developing new hobbies, like being a podcaster. Yes, that's one of my new identities. On top of being a mother, a wife, a business owner, I'm developing a new identity now. The last point is know how to manage others. In our 40s, it's impractical to try to do everything by ourselves. It's crucial to learn how to manage others to accomplish tasks. Continue learning how to manage people who work for us and how to build others up. The skill will be tremendously beneficial to us. Okay, now we are in the last part, my thoughts about the book. Turning 40 is considered the prime time of our life. But it's also when everyone seems to want a piece of you. They want to pull you between work, kids, elderly parents, and spouses. Every day becomes another busy one, simply getting by and caring for everyone. It's really not easy to ask the strategic questions of how do I wish to spend the second half of my life? Yet this book reminds us there's no more important question than that. As long as we know how to manage our time and be strategic, in our 40s, we still have the chance to strive for something great. Since the first time I read this book, I have been practicing using the 6-time blocks on my weekends. Although that means I haven't had a completely free weekends for a long time, I do enjoy balancing family, church, my side hustle, i.e. this podcast, and friends in my weekend. So I get a lot of things done and I feel I'm fully utilizing my weekends. Now, the second time I have gotten through this book, I think the other thing I'm going to try is to be more deliberate in building my network and connections. I certainly need to expand my personal network and find ways to keep in contact with new people I meet. Often, I don't even ask for people's contact information anymore because I just assume we won't stay in contact. But I think that is a wrong mindset. I definitely need to work on changing that. This book has been a great resource for me to start thinking about how I would like to spend my 40s. And yes, 40 is not too late. It's just the start of the second half of our lives. How would you like to spend yours? Let's remember, at 40, the best part of life is just the beginning. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy, please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Let's continue to enjoy our bubble tea and learn together. Until next time, bye!